Hey guys, David Syvertsen here, Senior Draft Analyst from Ourlads Scouting. We are going to dive into our wide receivers' current top 5. This is, again, before we convene together as an Ourlads staff to come up with our consensus. This is where I currently stand at this point in the process. Starting off with the obvious, Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. Not only does he further this Ohio State receiver pipeline to the NFL, but he also is proving that the apple does not fall far from the tree as he blends his elite tools with a fully developed skill set that screams a plus version of his Hall of Fame father, Marvin Harrison Sr. His fluid releases off the line maximize early separation, and he's got that extra burst, that extra gear to lengthen that separation at all levels of the route tree. His ball tracking down the field is off the charts. Listen to this. Quarterbacks have a 141.4 rating on passes thrown his way on 20-plus yards downfield. That is 16 of 28 for 613 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Simply put, if you put the ball in his direction within reach in traffic, he's going to come down with it. The one question I have about his game is, can he learn to play with a little bit more urgency and physicality? The contested catch rate dropped a little bit in 2023, and he did have a career high in drops his final season in Columbus. Coming in at number 2 is Odunze from Washington. After not liking what he heard back from the NFL Draft Advisory Board at this time last year, Odunze put on 10 to 15 pounds without losing a step, and he proved he had true number 1 receiver traits. He led the country with 1,640 yards. He was 4th in touchdowns with 13. This is where he stands off. He jumps off the sheet when you hear this statistic right here. He led Power 5 wide receivers in a contested catch rate with 75%. 75%. Anything above 50 is notable. We haven't seen a rate that high since 2018, which was Jacoby Myers, and he didn't have half the size or speed of Odunze. The one question I do have about him, how much did the scheme and the poor defense from the Pac-12 inflate those stats? Coming in at number 3 is Malik Nabers. He's an absolute menace after the catch. He was a huge part of Jaden Daniels' Heisman Trophy winning season, and considering what has come out of this program in recent years at the wide receiver spot, it's easy to see his game translating to the next level after absolutely dominating the SEC. His advanced footwork and body control as a route runner is excellent. He was 4th in missed tackles forced, 2nd in yards, touchdowns, and first downs. He's a true threat all over the field. He's also, the alignment versatility is a big deal at the next level. He had almost a complete split between snaps from the slot and out wide. So you know he can do it all. The one question I have, because you have to rewind a little bit and not only watch the last 10 to 15 games, you have to rewind to earlier in their career. And Malik Nabers did have some issues with putting too many balls on the turf early on in his career. So I just want to make sure that that's a really solidified trait in his game. Coming in at number 4 is Troy Franklin from Oregon. With his ability to get vertical in an instant and lengthen that separation, Franklin will put pressure on any secondary that tries to get up in his face, but he also shows snappy underneath quickness and surprising physical strength to give him multiple options at all times. 3rd in touchdowns, he was 6th in yards. The wiry strength and highly competitive nature of this kid shows up. He improved his yards after catch every single year. He is much more than someone that's just going to get vertical on you. He is a football player. He's got a lot of dog in him. The one question I have is, can his hands become a little bit more consistent? He likes to trap that ball between his hands and his body. He needs to frame the football and show a little bit more strength from those paws. And he didn't do very well in contested situations. There's just not going to be that much space in the NFL as much as he did in the Pac-12. And we need to see him produce at a higher level when he's got a defender draped all over him. Keon Coleman is wrapping this up at number 5 from Florida State. The former basketball player from Michigan State, a prestigious college basketball program, brings in dominant caliber ability and potential, I should say, in contested situations, while he is still early on that progression curve, we still need to see a lot of progress made from where he currently stands, but you see the flashes at his size to really be a true dominant factor in the red zone on those 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7s, where he could just be a matchup nightmare. The timing and accuracy in which he attacks the ball in the air, you can see that basketball player in him. He's got a great feel for spacing and angles. The one question, I really have two on him, is there enough true speed and burst to put a defensive back on their heels as he tries to get vertical? He only caught 50% of his targets. He is an inconsistent football player at this time, so we need to really be confident that he's going to come in, work really hard, and be coachable. That wraps up the wide receiver current top 5 for Ourlads scouting. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of changes. There are 10 to 15 guys that could have made a case to be somewhere in this group, and we're really looking forward to seeing who separates themselves between now and then. Thank you guys. Check out the rest of the article at ourlads.com.